Hey there, today's daily lore video will be about Chad's Space Marine Titus and his adventures. Let's get right in. Lieutenant Titus, a steadfast soldier of the Ultramarines, awakens in a grim reality overshadowed by war. Once a renowned hero, his name now drifts through the corridors of the Imperium like a ghost. Accused of heresy, Titus has spent a century in the depths of the Death Watch, a clandestine order fighting desolate battles against the galaxy's most horrific foes. The galaxy is under siege by the relentless Tyranids, a swarm of bioengineered horrors bent on consuming all life. A last-ditch effort by the Death Watch has gone awry, leaving most of Titus's squad dead after a crash landing on the harsh world of Kadaku. When he rises from the depths of despair, it is time for him to reclaim his purpose. The situation deteriorates as the Tyranid invasion progresses. The Imperium's defences crumble under the weight of the relentless swarm. With his loyalty rekindled and questions of his faith re-examined, Titus embarks on a perilous mission to rally the weary troops of the Khas Imperial Guard. His resolve deepens as he confronts treachery and the ever-looming shadow of chaos. Amidst the devastation, he faces the unknown. Magnus the Red, the sorcerer of the Thousand Suns, stirs. His ambition threatens to collapse what remains of the Imperium, and as Titus navigates the ruinous landscapes, he understands that the stakes extend far beyond simple survival. This is a fight for the soul of humanity itself. As the battle intensifies, Titus finds himself confronting relentless waves of Tyranids while strategizing with his remaining allies. Armed with new weaponry and the power of the Rubicon Primaris, he transforms into an even deadlier force. His prowess in combat becomes legendary, inspiring shattered soldiers to stand firm against the encroaching darkness. The narrative weaves through triumphs and losses. Each battle costs lives, but Titus's leadership evokes a spark of hope in the hearts of the oppressed. As he continues to challenge the Tyranid threat, his journey takes him to the heart of battle, where he must ultimately face Magnus directly. In a fateful confrontation, the battlefield becomes a theatre for ancient rivalries. Magnus, weaving dark sorcery, threatens to unleash a cataclysmic weapon that would ensure the extinction of any resistance. Titus summons his strength, rallying his allies for an all-out assault. Timing is everything. Just as Magnus prepares to unleash his horrific power, Titus charges, an epitome of duty and righteousness. The confrontation reaches a climax as honor clashes with ambition. The fight becomes brutal, intricate, and saturated with desperation as the forces of the Imperium collide with the dark machinations of chaos. With unwavering valor, Titus prevails against Magnus, but not without severe consequence. The cost weighs heavily on him. He survives, but many of his comrades fall in the process. The galaxy remains scarred, though the immediate threat has been quelled. Titus has not only reclaimed his honor, but also stands poised to reshape the fate of the Ultramarines. Yet, as the dust settles, the greater battle is far from over. The galaxy brims with the potential for more conflicts, more treachery, and the ever-looming shadow of chaos. With his name rising from obscurity, Lieutenant Titus is not merely a warrior, he is now a legend reborn, a beacon of hope in the galaxy of eternal war. The tale of Titus continues, a relentless journey through the fabric of darkness, one determined step at a time, with the promise of hope illuminating the path ahead. As the dust of battle clears, Lieutenant Titus stands on the precipice of a new era, surrounded by the ruins of his past victories and haunted by the faces of fallen comrades. The Ultramarines regroup, their morale buoyed by Titus's courage, yet the lingering threat of chaos and the ominous tide of the Tyranid swarm remain. In the wake of the confrontation with the Magnusian, an urgent message reaches the remnants of the Ultramarines. That the Imperium, as cited, is fractured, facing myriad threats, insurrections from within, renewed Tyranid incursions, and the resurgence of other ancient foes. Chapter Master Manus Calgar summons Titus back to Macraga, where decisions must be made that will affect the entire galaxy. Upon arriving on Macraga, Titus finds the atmosphere charged with apprehension. The various chapters of the Space Marines convene, tension rising as old rivalries resurface. Both the Imperial Fists and the Blood Angels voice their concerns, fearing that Titus's recent actions may have sown discord amongst their ranks, believing he's become a rallying point for chaos rather than unity. Titus stands firm in his convictions, defending the purity of the Imperium. He emphasizes that strength lies not just in rage, but in the hope that they can still work to eradicate the threats looming over them. His words resonate with many, igniting a flicker of unity in what seems a dimming light. However, not all agree. Carterius, a prominent member of the Imperial Fists, questions whether Titus has strayed too far into the shadows of vengeance and power. With eyes full of doubt, he confronts Titus, igniting a bitter feud that spurs on the skeptics of the Council. Meanwhile, whispers of a conspiracy echo throughout the chambers of the Imperium. A cult dedicated to Slaanesh stirs, seeking to exploit the disunity among the Space Marine chapters. This cult plans to unleash ancient artifacts that could turn the tide of the war in their favour. With the threat of chaos growing, Titus receives intelligence revealing the cult's location. Racing against time, he gathers a small force of loyal allies, including seasoned veterans and promising recruits, to conduct a covert operation. The mission is fraught with dangers, but the potential for dispersing the cult and regaining control over the situation encourages them to act decisively. As they infiltrate the cult's stronghold, the landscape becomes a battleground rife with deception. Hallucinations fueled by chaos seep into the minds of the Loyalists, testing their faith and resolve. Will they emerge victorious, or will they succumb to the dark whisperings of the enemy? In an epic confrontation, Titus and his squad face off against the cultist leader, who possesses a cryptex containing unspeakable power. The battle rages, an intricate dance of strategy and savagery, as the very fabric of reality seems to contort around them. With camaraderie fueling their resolve, they strike down the cultists one by one, but not before the leader is able to unleash a surge of chaos energy, warping the battlefield into a nightmarish realm. Titus finds himself confronting his deepest fears and doubts. Visions of his fallen brothers swirl in the darkness, testing his will. But through the chaos, an inner flame ignites within him, a determination to protect the Imperium at all costs. Resolutely, he fights through the illusions and manages to seize the cryptex, shattering the cult's power and sealing the gateway to chaos. Emerging from the shadows of the cult's stronghold, Titus returns to Macragge with newfound allies. The Loyalists who followed him into battle now stand resolute in unity. The successful operation re-establishes trust amongst the chapters, dispelling doubts about Titus's loyalty. In a grand council, Titus addresses all factions, reiterating that even in chaos, there exists the possibility for redemption and unity. His words resonate deeply, reminding the faction leaders of their shared purpose, to protect humanity from the encroaching darkness. With threats still lurking in the shadows, the focus shifts to a cohesive plan to fortify the Imperium's defences. Titus is reinstated as a key figure within the Ultramarines and is charged with spearheading initiatives against both the Tyranids and the Chaos Forces. The galaxy still teeters on the brink, but under Titus's leadership, a new alliance forms, stronger and more vibrant than before. As the voices of the Imperium unite, the sound echoes through the stars. The resolve of each Space Marine chapter solidifies into an ironclad alliance, and they prepare to take the fight to their enemies. Plans are made for a counter-offensive against the relentless Tyranid invasion, while simultaneously keeping a vigilant eye on the threats from chaos. The newly forged unity resonates throughout the ranks, igniting a fervour for battle. Titus, once a labelled outcast, now stands tall as a beacon of hope for the beleaguered forces of the Imperium. His reputation as a leader grows, and the war cries of the Ultramarines and their allies become a chorus of defiance against the encroaching darkness. As the first waves of the counter-offensive take shape, intelligence reports indicate that a massive Tyranid hive fleet is converging on the planet Avarax. This hive mind, a terrifying amalgamation of biological horrors, seeks to absorb all life forms and further assert the Tyranids' dominion over the galaxy. Titus gathers his forces, an elite battalion of Ultramarines and trusted allies from other chapters. As they strategize their approach, they prepare for an assault unlike anything the Imperium has faced before. The plan revolves around distraction and destruction, lure the first wave into a trap, allowing them to strike at the heart of the Tyranid force. The battle on Avarax explodes into chaos as the Tyranids pour forth from their hive. The air thickens with the stench of their biological weaponry, and the sky darkens as swarms of countless bugs fill the horizon. Titus leads the charge, his blue armor glinting in the horrid light of the battlefield as he shouts orders and inspires his troops to hold their ground against insurmountable odds. Collateral damage is massive, with the ground shaking under the weight of countless engaging forces. The roar of bolters and explosions reverberates as they stand their ground against overwhelming numbers. Thanks to precise timing, Titus and his squads manage to flank the Tyrannid forces, resulting in a significant blow to the hive mind. But just as hope blossoms, the true terror of the Tyrannids emerges from the depths. A massive Carnifex, towering over the battlefield, charges toward Titus and his squad, wreaking havoc among the ranks. With mere moments remaining before defeat, Titus channels every ounce of strength, rallying his men to engage the beast. The air crackles with tension and fear. Allies bravely face their doom, but their spirit is undaunted. As Titus ascends to the front lines, his heart pulses with resolve and vengeance. The clash with the Carnifex becomes a dance of death, every strike resonating with purpose. Bolter fire bursts against its chitinous hide, but as reinforcements flood in, they find themselves battling not just the Tyrannids, but also despair as comrades fall around them. In a pivotal moment, Titus pulls the melter bomb from his pack. As he plunges towards the Carnifex, he recalls his fallen brothers, their courage fueling his own as he charges into the beast's maw. With a surge of adrenaline, he detonates the bomb at point-blank range, engulfing the monstrosity in a blinding pyre of flame and fury. As dust settles and echoes of gunfire fade, the battlefield reveals both victory and devastation. The Tyrannid hive has been shattered, but victory comes at a significant cost. The losses weigh heavy on Titus's shoulders, each fallen brother a reminder of the harsh reality of the war. Returning to Macragge once again, Titus stands before the assembled forces. Grief and honour mingle as he recounts the sacrifices made, reminding them that their fight is far from over. The Imperium will never be truly safe as long as chaos lurks, ready to exploit every weakness. With the dawn of victory comes the grim realization that the battle against the Thousand Suns lies ahead. Their schemes are still unfurling, threatening to ensnare the Imperium anew. Intelligence suggests that Magnus is regrouping, itching to turn the balance of power in his favour. Titus and his allies begin preparing for the next phase of their campaign, a concerted effort to thwart Magnus's plans before the oncoming storm breaks. The brothers of the battlefield remind him that they are not fighting only for survival. They are fighting to ensure a brighter future for humanity. Titus leads a series of strategic operations, securing key locations and gathering more allies. As they draw closer to confronting Titus leads a series of strategic operations, securing key locations and gathering more allies as they draw closer to confronting the Thousand Suns. Each victory adds weight to their cause, but it also draws the attention of Magnus, whose dark power continues to grow. The urgency mounts as they must strike before the Chaos Sorcerer can execute his nefarious schemes. In the heart of the Imperium, tension is palpable. The alliance solidifies among Space Marine chapters, the High Lords of Terror, and the Adeptus Mechanicus. They craft a meticulous plan to root out Magnus and dismantle his influence. With the Blackstone Fortress identified as the centre of his power, Titus knows they cannot afford to fail. The time has come. With a combined force of Ultramarines, Blood Angels, and Imperial Fists, Titus leads the assault on the Blackstone Fortress. The fortress looms ominously against the starry backdrop, a sentinel of chaos ready to unleash unspeakable terror upon the galaxy. As the Space Marines breach the fortress, they encounter waves of Thousand Suns warriors, each battle harder than the last. The air crackles with psychic energy, and the once great structure reveals its nightmarish interiors filled with dark illusions and traps designed to ensnare newcomers. Yet, united in purpose, the Marines push forward, fueled by valour and unyielding determination. Upon reaching the heart of the fortress, Titus confronts Magnus the Red. The confrontation is both physical and psychological, a clash of wills and ideologies. "You fight not for the Imperium," Magnus taunts, "but for a dying hope." Yet Titus stands firm, unwavering in his belief that humanity can prevail against any darkness. The ensuing battle is titanic. Psychic blasts clash with bolter fire, and reality itself seems to warp around them. Titus draws upon all he has learned and fought for, tapping into the very essence of his duty to protect humanity. Memories of his brothers and the sacrifices made swell within him, pouring into his weapon as he charges towards Magnus. With a decisive blow, Titus lands a strike that disrupts Magnus's focus, causing the sorcerer to falter. In this moment, he channels the combined strength of his allies, uniting their fury against the embodiment of chaos. The fortress trembles as reality fractures around them. The dark spells unravel, revealing the true nature of their enemy. In a final act of defiance, Magnus attempts to retreat into the warp, but Titus intercepts him. The two clash one last time, each standing for their respective ideologies: hope versus despair, unity versus division. With a powerful strike, Titus forces Magnus back, channeling the purity of the Imperium's will. The fortress erupts in blinding light as Magnus's hold over it crumbles. With Magnus defeated, the grip of chaos on the Blackstone fortresses weakens, and the final remnants of his army scatter. The victorious forces share a moment of triumph, knowing that their unity has once again prevailed against insurmountable odds. But Titus understands the fight is ongoing. The war against chaos will never truly end. After the battle, he stands before his brothers, their camaraderie solidified through shared trials. They will rebuild, strategize, and prepare for the challenges ahead, for they know that shadows will always linger. Titus returns to Macragge, greeted as a hero but burdened with the knowledge of future battles. Now, a true symbol of resilience, he leads the Ultramarines into a new era strengthened by the sacrifices of those who answered the call. He reflects on an unbreakable truth. In the grim darkness of the far future, there is no peace, only the ceaseless fight for survival. Yet, amidst that strife, glimmers of hope shine through, a legacy forged in valor, camaraderie, and the eternal spirit of the Imperium. The saga of Lieutenant Titus continues, echoing across the stars as a testament to the indomitable will of humanity, a beacon of light against the encroaching darkness, encroaching darkness, encroaching darkness.